race around in dirt. And nobody dresses up like this to cheer me on. Okay, to clarify, I race gravel bikes. And a gravel race is when you ride your bike as fast as you can on dirt roads. And there's nobody out there dressed up, and if they were, they'd probably get splattered with mud. But when I first started cycling, it was as therapy for me, like a few years ago, for my mental and physical health. And I bought my first real bike, but it came with a really thin, very hard, very uncomfortable seat. And I wanted to have a big, fluffy, cushy seat that's nice and wide, like normal. But my cycling friend said, oh, no. You can't ride with that. People will make fun of you. And they said, what you need to do is you wear these cycling shorts, which are like bicycle shorts with big, thick padding in back and underneath. And basically what they did is they took that cushy bicycle seat and they shoved it up into these bicycle shorts. And I don't get it. How is it that by riding with a cushy seat, I'm going to get made fun of, but wearing these cycling shorts that make me look like I have a big baboon butt, I'm not going to be made fun of? How many of you, who knows what babies and cyclists have in common? They both wear bibs. Now, I had never heard of this until I started cycling just a few years ago. And when my cycling friends told me that I needed to get a bib for racing, I said, look, okay, I know I'm going to be, cycling real hard, but I assure you, I'm not going to be drooling. And even if I did, it's not going to be enough where I'm going to need a bib. And they said, no. A bib in cycling are like the bicycle shorts with straps going over your shoulders. A one piece, think of like a wrestling singlet, but baboon butt included. Okay, so I got the bib for my race, and here's what it's like when you go to a gravel bike race. First of all, there's the smell of the local horse farm. Oh no, wait, that's the lineup of porta-johns. And you have to get there early to check in and get your number on your bike and everything. And this is a 2 to 3 hour race, so it's gonna be a while. And if you need to go, this is the only window of opportunity, and you are going to have to use the porta-johns. So you get in there, and something that I never knew before because I never needed it, porta-johns don't have hooks inside. And I've got this one piece on, and I have my cycling jersey on top. So I had to unzip my cycling jersey, hang it over my arm, or grasp it in my hand, and then make sure that it's doubled over because I don't want it inadvertently touching the wet floor. And now I got to figure out how to get these straps off this one-piece bib. And then I realize, if I pull these down now, it's gonna dip in. The place you don't even want to look at. So now I got to figure out how to drape that over my arm with my cycling jersey, and then you have to be able to grab the paper. It's a good thing that cyclists have very strong quads, because there was a lot of hovering going on. All right, so once you survive the porta-john, that's the first test. Then you go and you line up at the starting line with hundreds of racers. And then once they start the race and you get moving, now your task is to identify your people amongst the hundreds of riders. You have to somehow find the people who ride at the exact same pace that you're going to ride for the next 2 to 3 hours. And then once you find them, you want to be able to draft off of them. And the advantage of drafting is that it helps shelter the wind. You get a little bit of break where you don't have to ride as hard for a bit. But when you draft, you have to have your front wheel about 3 inches behind their rear wheel. But you don't want to be looking down at the wheel the whole time because, you'd hurt your neck, right? So what you do is you have to stare at their butt. And then they find someone else, and they get behind someone, and they stare at their butt. And then that person's staring at someone else's butt, and then someone else's butt. It's the whole lineup of people staring at each other's butts. And occasionally, you have to take your turn and go to the front, and you have to lead the pack and give someone else a chance to stare at your butt. And that's all it is. It's just 2 hours of just staring at butts. And if you see someone's face, you're going the wrong way. So last week I had a race and in Grass Lake, Michigan, and it rained. It rained hard. And so I wasn't just staring at butts, I was staring at muddy butts with a big line of mud right up their back. And that mud isn't just going up and hitting them in their rear end, it's hitting me in my face. And I've got cycling glasses on that come down to my cheek so I don't get mud in my eye. But I'm getting mud in my mouth. Because, I want to be able to breathe. It's not like you can, ride with your mouth closed, like you would never make it, right? And then I'm getting mud in my nose. And I realize, okay, I have a neck gaiter on. I'll pull up my neck gaiter. But all that did was fog up my glasses, which I already couldn't see out of. It's not like your glasses have wipers, and they're just completely covered in mud, so I had to pull it back down, and I had no choice. And so the whole time I'm riding for 2 hours, and I'm just and then halfway through, I realized that I now had chunks of gravel in my teeth, crunching my teeth, and now I'm trying to grab my water bottle. I know. It doesn't sound very glamorous, but there are women who pay an awful lot of money to get that kind of mud facial. See? So, as I said, I started cycling as therapy, and I decided I would do some triathlons. That's kind of how I started. And I did my first duathlon, and then I did a triathlon 3 years ago, and then a week later, Memorial Weekend, I had a friend who invited me out on my first gravel ride. I'd never done that before, and I didn't realize that corners are where loose gravel hangs out. And it was just like that, and just pain. And I ended up in the hospital, had to have surgery. I broke my clavicle in 5 pieces. I have a bracket and 7 screws. So as I'm in the hospital, I'm posting photos on social media in my Facebook groups for cyclists And for triathletes, and telling my friends what happened, and I'm going to be out for a while, and I had pictures of my x-ray. One of the groups I'm in for triathletes, there's like over 50,000 in that group. Hundreds of comments. Not sympathy. Hundreds of comments where 4 out of 5 of them were people posting the photos of their broken clavicle and their x-rays, saying, "You've passed the initiation. Welcome to the club." And I thought, what kind of club did I join? I mean, that's not in your profile pic for this group. Like, these people are crazy. Like, who would do that? That's just absolutely insane. And I bought my first gravel bike right out of the hospital. That's my therapy.